Thank you very much, Anne-Sophie. I was actually thinking that I participated in the roundtable. I just prepared a couple of graphics in order to support the ideas that I wanted to share with you, or the current status of the situation. So please let me share them with you. Can you see them? Yes. So
yes. Yes.
In order to prepare this this event or this roundtable, so I checked what numbers are actually available concerning diversity in big international collaborations, which is a topic that is really on the top of the list since quite some time. I would say at least 15 years or so that we talk about diversity, and that has taken really momentum in the last 10 years. So what I can show you here is a study that has been done by the Atlas collaboration. So Atlas is an experiment with about 3,000 authors that is located on the LHC. The authors are coming from about 100 different countries or nationalities. And what you can see here is the number of women as authors of the collaboration. You can see here the absolute numbers of authors per region. So the regions are Asia, Eastern Europe, Mediterranean region, Northern Europe, North Africa, and the Southern Hemisphere. You have here the absolute numbers for men and for women, and the different lines indicate different time zones. So 1995 to 2009 is in dotted, 2009 to 2014 is in dashed, and 2014 to 2019 are the plain lines. In the lower plot here, you have the fraction of women of the total authorship, because the total authorship also increased over this time periods. And you can see that currently the overall authorship is at about 21% of women in the Atlas collaboration, with an evolution over the years in the different regions that show a clear and significant increase in the numbers of women participating in the as authors in the collaboration. The highest fraction of women authors is in the Mediterranean region, where you can see that it levels out over the last since 2009 essentially. The lowest is coming really from Asia, but it's also increasing steadily. And then you can see the increases in all the other regions. What you can also see that there is a clear difference between the women that are younger, below 35, and the women above 35. There are naturally two effects to this. I mean, first of all, in the past, there were fewer women applying to positions or studying physics. That currently is the case. And so this means also that you have fewer women's, my age or similar. But then this is the one effect. The other effect is certainly that you also have a dropout of young women still happening after typically their PhD or their postdocs. So the next distribution I wanted to show you that I found it also very encouraging is the fraction of women in top-level leadership roles in the Atlas collaborations. So they defined several categories of leadership roles. First of all, the top-level management here. And you can see over the time, again, it's from 2009, 2014, 2019, how the fraction of women in the top-level management increased and reached about the 17% line of women that you can expect in this age level at the moment. The same is also true for major area coordinators, so physics coordinators, technical coordinators, and so on. And you can also see how this increases. In other groups like that is called physics and performance groups or physics and performance subgroups, the fraction of women actually dropped, but you can also see that it was overrepresented. And these are groups that are really taking care of more the, how can I say, the understanding of the daily understanding of the performances of the detectors and so on. And naturally, having had responsibilities in these areas where they're feeding into women having now more top-level responsibilities. However, this overrepresentation may also be a sign of, things that are not that attractive, where women then subscribed to doing the work. Yeah. So it may be not a bad thing that these drop to a level where you have a kind of reasonable representation of women according to the fraction that they represent in the collaborations. The same is also true for publication committee, speakers committee, and this type of jobs. In blue, you can see the institutional team leaders, but there we have only one measurement, or only one measurement has been published in 2019. Oh, sorry, what I didn't say is that this study was done by Ana Maria Rodriguez Vera from the York University in Toronto, Canada. And you can find it on IOP Publishing in open access. The data that is coming into these distributions are all from CERN Human Resources Department. Then you can see here another figure that I found interesting, which is the number of presentations in the collaboration week. So these are the events where the whole collaboration is gathering together in order to present and discuss the results. And you can see that, again, the fraction of women presenting is a little bit above, in general, the one of the women present in the collaboration. And I think this is really testifying of the effort that is done in the collaboration to promote women in physics. And we can be very happy and proud of the field having taken this at their heart and really trying to push women in these areas. As another, so this concerns the Atlas collaboration. So this is really an experiment that is taking data, analyzing data, and publishing results. And that is an international collaboration, which means that the contributors are really coming from laboratories all over the world and are employed by all over the world. Now, you know also that CERN is an international organization which has its own staff. So what I wanted to say then, after presenting you with these numbers and this distributions, was that we really see that this topic has been considered by all the major international collaborations. And I think I can state that is the case either at CERN, but also I have seen this in many other countries. And there has been a tremendous engagement to promote the scientific careers for women, to reduce implicit bias, but also to put in place procedures to fight against harassment. And I don't know if you know, but at CERN, for example, they have also an initiative of women physicists going to visit schools, primary schools, in order to promote really the image of women being physicists and being scientists. And this changes really the mentalities. They did some checks with the kids, then doing pictures afterwards, and there were many women pictured, which was very nice to see. Now, gender parity is certainly an important topic for society at large, but I think even though this means typically to promote women in the domains that were considered as masculine domains, I think we should also think about the opposite, because we will not reach any parity or gender parity if there is not also the opposite happening, which means men going into domains that are considered like women jobs in the future. You can look at the administrations in our laboratories, and I think we would really, if we think that diversity brings a more performing entity, or an entity to a higher performance, then we should really think also of administration as being a place where we should promote diversity. I don't even talk about schools. If I look at the situation of France in schools, I mean, there are now mostly women teachers, and I really don't think that it's good for society to have this tremendous bias. However, I cannot see any campaign happening in France about promoting teacher jobs for men, and I think this is really something that should happen. Yeah. in this sense, I think also that working groups that are concerned with diversity needs to be diverse themselves, and it's very good here to have also not only women in this meeting, but also men. And if I look at many groups in the collaborations, I can see that they really put emphasis on this, that the groups are diverse by themselves. And I think then also that, I mean, I'm a physicist, and you may know that physicists always think that they can do everything by themselves. However, I think that diversity is also important if we collaborate to include different fields and different types of education. I must say that while I was working with CERN at the council, I really appreciated the work and the help of women in legal service, women in international relations, men in translation and minutes, who had completely different background than physics, but that it was so rich of what everybody contributed to make things going. And we should never forget about being inclusive really also on this level. Now, let me also state a couple of areas where I think still that I feel concern from some but these are personal areas. It's not something official. I think one area that at least was difficult for me, but maybe also for other women, is really the compatibility of work and family life. And frankly, in my personal career, I didn't feel any distinction between men and women until I had a family. Because then suddenly naturally concerns for taking care rose, and maybe I didn't deal with them very well, and certainly there are people who deal with them much better than I did, but for me it wasn't easy then to have as much time and as much brain free to be in the jungle of research, because research is still sometimes an area where it's the survival of the fittest, and it's not always easy, I think, for women with families to compete. This is a point where I think also that in our general research policy, we went very, very far in the idea of competition, excellence, to always be the best. And we often forget that excellence is coming from collaboration more than from competition. And for me, this would be really an important point, that we should push forward also to the thinking in general that science is not about who has the Nobel Prize. Science is about people working together in order to solve problems. And we should put this much more in front. Then I think another point that is still needing some work also is the question of how we deal with situation of harassment. A lot has been done, and there are many places where now the situation of harassment that were encountered are find an expression, find sanctions, find a follow-up. However, the tools in place are not always adequate. It's very difficult to implement procedures that are at the right level. The situations are often also very difficult, because you may find people who harassed in positions where they have a lot of power, where the victims really have no chance to well, either complain and leave the field or shut up. So the population that is really fragile in this sense are naturally the students, even though doctoral students are very often follow up more closely by the groups in which they are working, and I think even more postdocs that are in really fragile situations because of the precarity of their situation. And I think a real focus, we should really have postdocs in our mind and try to, follow them up with quite some care, without being patronizing to them, because they also have to fly on their own wings. But in general, I think the precarity in how you say, positions in science also went really over the top, And to employ people at a relatively young age is also helping them in stabilizing and also making their way through. And this is true especially for women, from my point of view. So thank you very much. I hope this contribution was not too little bit of everything, but I tried to push a couple of ideas and facts together. Thank you very much.